some of them don't move, John.
No, I don't want it to move.
Oh,
I'm trying to stop it.
I don't, I think there's, some of them are broken. Whenever you're ready, I just gotta hold on.
Go.
Okay, go ahead.
Do we have to announce that we're,
Or just, you can just let them know that it's open, it's just a workshop, so.
we are on camera for budget workshop. The present is Mike Laska, John Marek, Brian Fischer, Larry Wolf, and Treasurer Salentine.
If you'd like, I can go over what's in front of you guys.
Are these different? I'm not writing
Yeah.
this up now. Okay, so
This
just
is
the
from
new
last
one?
week.
Oh, that's last week, okay. Yes, please.
Okay. In front of you is the budget outline of dates. Basically, we're looking, the budget hearing was scheduled at the annual meeting for November 12th. So the breakdown of where we stand and when the budget needs to be done and completed by is in front of you. If it needs more time, it would take a motion and a board to change it, we need to go later. Okay? At last week's budget workshop, Brian, you asked for the invoicing of the accounts receivable detail list, what's out there. So that's right there. If you need detail sheets or anything, we have them in the office, but I just wanted to give you a snapshot of what was going on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then also at the last in order, basically, by account number order, it was asked at the last workshop, the contracted services section, what kind of entails in those, so this is something just to reference if you guys are questioning what's in there. And it's each account in order. You guys should have, I can print off a chart of accounts if you guys like, but the account numbers sometimes are in there, depends on how I broke it out, because some of them, like fire department and stuff like that gets a lot more in there, so I broke it off by groups, so you can go through the detailed lines of what was in those contracted services, what it's under those specific line items, and you can reference that back to your budget layout sheet that's in front of you. But that was asked also on to bring that too, so I brought that back. Okay? The next, big packet is.
Can I just ask one
Sure.
real quick question?
You
And it's just like, looking for things, I get it, but on that thing we've
Yep.
got, and I know what the issue is, but that settlement agreement to release of claims with John Veteran, I don't want to get into
Yes.
the detail of that or not, but I mean, this general government thing, this needs to be a little bit of a.
It's an oddity
It's
that
kind of a
happens,
repository for things that maybe we don't necessarily even have a placeholder for or
Correct.
anticipate.
So that's why I went into other general.
I get it, okay, thank you.
I call it the oddity that happens once in a while.
Okay, that's good.
And then the next big packet after those detail sheets for you guys to review later. Dan presented his budget yesterday to me. So his detailed breakdown sheets are for you guys to review over. I have put his majority of his numbers in there. The items that are not are the capital expenses, because I'm still working on the capital expense breakdown sheet for everybody, the detail part of it. However, please keep in mind his total numbers at the end, and I haven't spoken with Dan this morning yet in regards to it. He has, if you just, at the first page, he goes to the salaries, and then he has point 2 and point 3. If you look on your budget, is FICA, and then there's health insurance, and then there's retirement, 2, 3, and 4. Typically, those are my areas that I fill in. One, they're pre-formulated, so those numbers there are not accurate, just keep that in mind. I have the FICA formulation in there, however, I'm still in contact with the health and dental for at least a breakdown for those items, which should be staying steady, but I wanna confirm those again. And then, for the fire department, for the retirement, those items have gone up. So I need to make sure that WRS, plus there's certain paid on call fire department people that also collect WRS. So it's more of a guesstimate on how often they work. So it's not like a for sure number, but we put an average in there for those people. There's about 8 or 10, something like that, for those people that work that are on WRS prior to the new hours. Before they get on. Questions? And Dan is available for questions on the fire department, because the only areas I do is health and fire. 0.5 is on your, is all on your budget lines.
Oh.
And so those are typically dues, memberships, and training.
Okay.
And 0.5, any of the points, 5, 6, 7, throughout the entire budget represents the same meaning behind it. Like 0.7, all of 0.7 will be contracted services, all of 0.5 will be memberships, dues, and everything like that. And I did want to briefly touch on is, and then your working budget, and I apologize, I'll put the date on top of them so you guys know, next round. The income, the state shared revenue, those typically come through, letters in the mail, and typically I don't start getting them till like mid to late September into early October for all those numbers. So those will sit there for a little bit, because those are concrete numbers that we get from permanent revenue and everything like that, that falls in place. And the assumptions off on the side is fine, so you know. I use that for formulas.
I have one question.
Sure.
For the single sheet landscape
Yeah.
format thing, 51,000 general government, 51,330 accounting and auditing,
Yep.
51,330.7 contracts and services. Third
Yep.
entry from the bottom there, third or possibly second, but I know we put Clifton, Larson, Allen, their
Yep.
attendance at various meetings and teleconferences and so forth. at
Those are the
2,800
detail that you guys are holding out right now.
We have not authorized
No,
payment
it's,
on that, am I correct?
you are correct. That's being held out, but because it's been entered as a check, it
It's
sits in.
logged in.
It's logged in at this moment, has not, it's sitting out for the details to come back.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back in time, Jamie? Do you have it available to tell, as long as we're talking about Clifton Larson Allen, what did we used to spend before Clifton Larson Allen and auditing when we were with Rockrock Genison?
I don't have it on hand because that was in a different computer system, but, I can see if there's a contract. Not in a computer, it'd be all in paper files, so I can check.
How hard?
I'm not sure.
Quick couple minute break?
I'll take a quick couple minute break, if you like. And we'll- I need you, you can't leave.
Are you guys all ready for the big Harley weekend? It's gonna be nuts. You gonna play, Larry?
Yeah.
So are you participating?
Not in the big rides, we go to some of the local dealers, listen to music and look at them and see what's out.
What is the, I haven't found, what are they expecting that the attendance might be on that? That's probably hard to guess, isn't it?
I don't even know.
I thought it was simple.
No, it's way too many, last one, it was 2-hour wait on the freeway to get into Miller Park and then a
Yeah.
2-hour wait at the gate to get in. We don't
That
do
sounds
that.
like,
That's ridiculous.
Now they start calling.
that wasn't bad.
I'm getting used to Michael's filing, so. All right.
I told them, I started looking at it, thinking the height.
Here's the letter. Looks like what, 12.5?
Is,
And then they did the accounting, it is on. It's okay.
is Gunderson doing something, Clifton Larson Allen doing something different, that they're double the cost? Are they doing more, or?
No, it looks like they had it separate because they did do, there's another contract in front of you. Because they did the accounting services along with the audit services.
Which we're now having done by Rick?
Accounting, typically that, and entering it's staying in-house because all of the bills used to leave for final review.
And so
And we're
we-
just keeping it moved out, so it's not double,
Right,
because we're small.
so $540 a month. 6 and 4, they were 10 grand.
And the audit services from Clifton Larson, they still do our financial C report.
Say that once more, please.
They do it's a financial C report that needs to be filed. It's after the audit, it's a large document, and it used to be done by Rotroff, and Clifton Larson's also doing that. He would do it for $11.35.
And what does Clifton Larson charge?
I don't have that broken out.
Is it
Because it's
within-
in with the fee that we pay them.
Okay.
Here is, oh, this will
So
probably
is
help.
there-
Here's a breakdown. You guys like copies of that?
If we could,
You bet.
that'd be good.
Left there, you wanna?
Sure.
They did, yes. I have everything I need from them.
Typically, what I'm aware of,
You get two.
since I came in 10, Mr. Rotroff had actually, the sheets that are in front of you, he would typically have prepared for the town, along with, they did the oversight of the accounting aspect would be then, the accounts payable and all that.
So
They
is
cut
there,
the checks here, but they would oversee the items and update all of the financial forms that way.
is there anything additional that we're receiving from Clifton Larson Allen for 25 grand or thereabouts that we didn't get from Rotroff at
For
12
Rotroff?
grand?
all the accounting system and everything that they utilized came from Mr. Rotroff, but it was in-house, so you could look it up and still utilize it. They entered it here and cut the checks, then he prepared everything else after that. The financials, all of that, but no, it's nothing extra other than the fact, everything has come back in the accounting stuff.
Can you shed any light, and if you can't, that's fine, but on when the changes made in auditors and why, do you know anything about that? And if you don't, or you're not comfortable with it, that's fair enough. Was that, did it happen after you came on board?
It was after I'd come on when I was in late September, and I believe the audit process hasn't even started when I had come in, and I could be wrong, so I'm not sure. Joe would be better at that, and you guys weren't here yet.
No.
So,
In late September of 2010,
correct. That one didn't get done until later that year, and it was set up that way for the board in a motion to say he was doing it cheaper, I believe, is one of the notes I had seen. He, Mr. Rotroff. It says here, the audit fee is discounted due to the fact the town will have the majority of the audit performed in the summer of 2010.
okay.
So there was a.
And typically they're done at the end of the year or right away that.
So there was a transitional period, if you will, that had something to do with the fees that were paid respectively to them, and is that the upshot of that?
I guess I'm not following your.
It was kind of a split year type of thing, if you will?
I don't know, because I wasn't here.
Fair enough, okay.
So, I mean, this is something I think Michael Wiener, I can get that clarified
Okay,
too, but I'm
okay,
not,
okay.
I didn't work with Mr. Rotroff that long.
That's fair, okay.
And then the board, because we had come through paperwork here, and the paperwork that we would get wasn't where I could just go, we'd sit down just like this, and I couldn't go in and change numbers, and it
Sure.
changed right away, it was all hard, so it was harder to. That was a board motion, so.
All right.
Joe wasn't on that, so he would have to not talk to me.
Do we want to move forward going through your numbers on your new spreadsheet?
Can I have the contract
Feel possessive about those around us,
back?
right?
I am, it's the originals.
Understood.
More the, Larry, just for your benefit, the yellow section is specifically for.
Yeah, I listened to
Okay,
the
good.
tape. so-
Oh, good, okay. If you guys like to go, whatever you guys.
Start at the top.
Um,
Do you have your,
My information, like I said, most of my income end, if you wanna go through the four. Income end, like I said, they come in letters, so I'm still holding off on those until I have concrete numbers, and then I will enter them as soon as they come in.
Mhm.
So I did as much as I could within 3 days. Averaging out, if you notice the regulation and compliance, and I do need to put in the parking income, I have to add that in. Because you had said, the board had asked for the parking income to be separate on the line item, and I did not place that in, it's on my list to do for next week. I don't know what you guys wanna do for the municipal court fines, because that's the first one in the income end, because we're not sure as far as the sheriff's contract, so that's up to you guys. If you guys want to remember, typically that's,
So what you're saying is until we, or if we sign up again with the sheriff, if we were to choose not to do that, then that income stream isn't gonna be there, isn't gonna be anything that
right, I'd still leave
significant. Is
it
that the
on
plan?
there, just so you guys know, if anything's, removed, it stays on for about a year or two, because your actuals are still there, just for, it'll stay there, but it'll be noted that it's no longer
Yeah.
active.
So I mean, necessarily in part of doing this budget review, we end up touching against policy issues and contracts
Yep.
and all that type of thing. I mean, I
Absolutely.
guess for what it's worth, I think it's appropriate. At this level, I will probably be supportive of continuing with the services from the sheriff's department. I don't know what anybody else's thought is.
Well, I'm gonna stop there, just because you guys are talking about that, we're not making the decision here, it's whether or not you wanna put in a number or
I
not.
understand.
Just to clarify.
No, I understand that full well, and those decisions are not made here over.
And these numbers can change every week.
A judgment
so-
of whether it's appropriate to put something in there or
Yeah.
not, and that's a
That's up to
discussion
you.
for another day, absolutely.
Okay.
So I guess I would put something in there.
And that's up to you guys. You can guide me, I put them through.
Well, what was the number from them? It was
We-
215 or 211?
Municipal court fine is not that one, I actually put it in down below. This would be an average, I don't think they had it on the, I apologize, I see what they're talking about this way. Oh, Brian, can I have that folder on the end of the middle?
This one?
That one.
Yeah, you got it.
Put it in there. I don't think they give us. They don't give us income end of it. They just give us the contract costs on the general letter that they give us for estimated 2014. So typically that was but you were saying, what they're stating is we're running a year-end forecast, we're running above average. Last year, the board did $10,000. We're looking at a forecast of 25,000. So whether you guys want to average the two in between, I mean, that's up to you.
Well, I think if we change some of our ordinances with regards to some of the suggestions that the sheriff
Mhm.
made, things like truck fines, and they start to enforce them, we see all of that. We get two benefits. Number one, we see all of that. The income comes directly to us and stays here. And they can be huge fines. I mean, they can be 1,000, 15, $2,000. And it's protecting our roads. And if you watch Prairie Avenue or Center, it's constant truck traffic. And there's very little we can do. We have no teeth right now. So that needs to be changed post haste. And that along with animals on the loose, that sort of thing, we have very little teeth in that regard. No pun intended.
I guess I got a suggestion just for discussion, kind of move off the diamond, come back, add it, I'll toss out, and I would prefer just philosophically to be on the conservative end on the income part, but not to overstate it. Would we be overstating expectations too much if we put 20,000 in there? I mean, it would be double what 2013 would be, but less than where you think we may even end up for actuals. I'll just toss out a number for discussion purposes. Any thoughts that anybody would have?
I would have been higher than that. I penciled in 25 grand.
Okay. And we're not that far apart. If we think we're gonna be able to do that this year, anybody else have a thought about that?
I'd like to play a little conservative, and I would put in 20. I mean, if they start enforcing and it goes up, we can raise it next year.
They can't enforce it until we change the ordinance. And
Right.
that's something that Jamie's working on drafting.
Right.
In her spare time.
Yeah.
I'd be comfortable with 20.
Mike?
Basically, we'll get those ordinances changed prior to the first of the year.
I don't see a reason we wouldn't have to do it very quickly, yes. And we certainly wouldn't before the first of the year because for temporary, you want to, so you have before spring thaw.
Set aside hearing time and things of that nature, so. I would err more cautiously too, with, instead of the 25K, go with 20.
Okay.
That'd probably have a better fit.
Anything else on page one?
It's a place to start.
Yeah, I have my screen, so I'm stealing Joe's paperwork. All right, oh, second page. And you guys can review my numbers that I put in too, and if you guys need explanations next round as to how I come up, please feel free to.
We will review them, to be sure.
All right, next one is the ambulance fees. This is the one that was increased, however, we're still not forecasting out the budget number that was in there.
When did
That didn't take place till March or April though.
Right,
That was an
so-
ordinance delay.
we lost a couple of months on that?
Yes, so typically with this amount, you have collections towards the end of the year too, so.
So are you saying that we're gonna track at 95 grand for the coming year?
Upcoming year?
Yes. We're tracking at
I'm-
95 this year with increased fees.
No, that was, last year's budget was 95, we're tracking to 60. We're way under.
Okay.
So, but again, like, Brian Fischer had stated,
Mhm.
that was an ordinance, that's what.
I mean, I'll throw a number out, I guess, just for discussion purposes, I'll throw out 60, I mean, jump on that, you think we can go richer than that?
How many months did we lose? When did that ordinance go?
I think it was about 3, possibly 4.
You think we can go a little richer than that or not?
I don't think so, with losing 3 months. Not a lot, but I would think more, maybe 5.
And remember, it depends on the fire
8.
calls too. You have to take that into consideration
Mm.
with the ambulance fees and all that stuff, that, it's your fire calls that are running this.
And
So-
and Dan said, I don't know what that means, we could ask him, but I thought he said.
We're
we
higher
had
than
a-
normal
a
this year.
Inordinately high activity,
Yep.
maybe that's not proper choice of words, but it's been, these recent months have been pretty active.
Correct, and it has the norm, so I just
It's
wanna
higher
throw
than
that out
normal?
there for this year,
Yeah.
so.
And then maybe 60. Go with last, with what the year end is.
I agree, 60.
Okay. Mike, any thoughts about that?
I'm good with 60.
51,000. I don't think anything changes there, correct? At 41
This
grand.
is, yeah, this is your guys' salaries, so that's a.
Yeah, let's take that, I do have one
John Mayer?
comment on that.
That really, kind of, in the meeting, why, what's up? Take off your door? Oh, I can, but I'm in a meeting till noon, and then I gotta run out to, then go on till 1 or 2. So the answer, the short answer is yes, I can, but not right away.
And that's a lot of money, though, get rid of your garbage.
Some most
Almost
money,
600,000.
some most money.
For
was
what?
spent.
What are you?
For garbage, for a rubbish collection.
what are you-
Solid waste and recycle.
It's the biggest number.
Man, that is unreal.
Well, every person that owns a home.
Well, yeah. No, I don't mean it's out of line, I'm just
No.
saying it's a lot of money.
It gets offset. So typically, it's a really a wash. Because
Is that in
your
our- is that
income,
in
you
our
take it and it's
taxes?
on our taxes.
Oh, okay, I
So
guess.
then, but we,
I
the
don't-
bill that you're paying every
Taxes.
day for, for your benefit, I mean, for the refuse and recycling, that bill that you see every month that comes through,
Mhm.
that's offsetting your income end. That, we get that situated by the end of the year with the contractor, how many we have parcels, I set that up with county when I do the taxes, and that all like
Blends.
crosses over, but that's at your offset. So your income and that is basically a zero, but your income is on.
Expense
still-
balance, wipe
That's how
out.
you balance the budget.
Really, I know the answer, I don't know, but basically the cost for an operation, or do we bury that into that, or is the town simply picking up the freight? Are people paying for that component in their real estate taxes?
Yes, Yep, it's on a
So-
special charge on your taxes that
That
you
gets
receive.
plowed into there.
That's why it's here on the 4,000. Yep.
I have, we go back to 51,100.1, salaries and wages. Jamie's heard this pitch before, the rest of you haven't. And this really isn't so much of a budget thing, but I think what we do is kind of silly, trying to keep it simplistic. I think supervisors' monthly checks are like $571.46 or something. I don't know what your big fat salary is, but it's twice that, probably ends up in some silly cents or something like that. I would like to one day, just to make the accounting simple, I mean, make it 560, 580, 600, I mean, we'd have to do that with a special, you know, or
Right.
motion and do all
You're
that kind of stuff.
571.46.
I think when we got into something, what's his anyway, just I'm curious, is his exactly double that or what is? I think what we did is there was a make sense number and somebody said add 2% or 3% a number of years ago. I don't care that much about the money, but I'd like to just one day make that simple, just clean it up. We don't have to die on that mountain.
1098.96, so.
What's that?
But it is 1098.96, I don't know.
Oh, you get 96 cents.
Yeah, that was his, Brian's an even.
I'm an even number kind of guy.
Having trouble rounding up, are you?
Rounding up and rounding down, I'm having difficulty. So we don't have to die on that mountain right now, but I mean, I think one day, we just ought to clean that up and come up with simple numbers or something. Someday. I'll leave
So
that,
we're-
In the
I'll
meantime,
leave that be.
in the meantime, can we put it at 41,000 to make it a nice round number for you?
Well, then we gotta redo everything for the payroll.
You don't
No, it's
have
just
to
a
do
budget
that.
number.
Well, true.
I just feel better that I was able to say that, okay? It can stay where
I
it's-
say to the zeros, that's me though. On my budget end, when I do it, it's to,
Is that
That's
a
fine.
exact number, 40,644?
Yeah, it
Then do you have any particular objection to leaving that?
I don't think I'm gonna get
You
it
just
changed
said it
today
feels
anyway.
fine.
I
Very
just-
good.
I told you I feel better about raising that issue.
Dues membership and training, $5,000, same as last year.
Are we leaving 4644 even?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
No,
point.
no sense.
You know why? Somebody might raise issue with that.
I think you guys are getting
How come
raises.
you're above or below? Should be right on.
But in order to do that, and this is the misplaced time for do that, in order to do that at some point in time, somebody probably needs to say, let's pay the supervisors $600 a month and the chairman $1,200 a month and make it effective,
Right.
a year from the 18th Tuesday in November or something, so somebody can't say it's a conflict of interest or whatever, that you're
Fair enough.
don't pay raise.
5,000 for the dues memberships and training. This includes all of your town association, the conference. Is anybody?
I'm fine with that. And supplies and expenses, $3,000, same.
Okay.
I like the round numbers.
Okay. Page 3.
Fire commission salary and wages, typically I can give the chair of that commission a call if you want, just to make, it depends on their meetings, because they get paid per meeting. And the contracted services is last year, they put in monies to contact the attorney, because they had, if they have, the fire commission, then if they were, because they were looking at hiring a fire inspector at the time, so they were meeting a little bit more often in 2012 versus 2013. So, but they didn't have any, per se, allotted funds to contact the attorney, although some issues they may need to.
So that's the contracted services.
That's the contracted services that was added in last year.
I'm gonna be a consistent jerk with that, but I mean, why $3,600?
I think it was carried through because of the inspector was not resolved at that moment when we did budget last year. if
I guess
recall
I'm saying is
correctly.
so far they've spent
Yeah,
$67.50.
typically they don't normally, unless they know of if replacements are coming or something, that's when they meet more often. I think they
You wanna
mentioned.
throw $500 in there or something?
I wanna throw 500, 1,000, something
500?
like that, or whatever.
Anybody have any input on 500?
We're leaving that,
Contracted?
Yes.
yeah, we're leaving the 1,800, that's typical if they were to meet,
What
but
about 500?
unless you
Does
want
that
me to
sound good?
contact.
Yeah.
500 we're putting in,
Yeah.
contracted?
Based on 6750 for this year.
I got
Correct.
one last question for Jamie. The 51,120.1 comes out to that nice $1,800. They must get paid a round number for a meeting or something, do they?
They do, they get $60 a
Oh,
meeting.
thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
15 cents.
Hey, we've gotta be out of here before noon.
We're rolling, let's go, page 3.
Municipal court contract, 51200.7.
Back it up just a school.
Sorry,
1,800 or?
Yeah.
yes, salary and wages, but I'll double check with the chair.
Thank
Oh,
you.
let me make a note.
51,200, do you see any reason that that's gonna change? We got our numbers from them already.
That's what we get from, this municipal court is strictly what our attorney does, municipal court wise, for the tickets, so.
This, well, let me ask you a question then, and maybe something I'll know this today and I'll forget it tomorrow, but municipal court contracted services, this is not the cost to participate in the court. Did you tell us that gets pulled out of what we get on the income stream? This is not the cost of the court, this is the cost that we pay to De La Mora and De La Mora.
Because they go if they have
I
to,
get
and
that.
review the paperwork
But
that's submitted that you see drop off.
51,200.7, and most of that I think is Doug Holfer's
It is,
efforts,
Doug
right?
Holfer
So,
is in charge of the
And
municipal.
all I'm trying to get to is this municipal court, we're not paying this to Eagle or McGuanago or something, I mean, this is what we are paying to De La Mora and De La Mora.
Correct,
right?
yes.
Is there any way on this so we understand that under municipal court, is there any way to put in behind that legal fees
Sure,
or something?
we can
parentheses? I mean,
rename it
just a
to
better-
municipal court dash legal fees?
Yeah, or
Okay.
put in parentheses or dash legal fees, just a better descriptor, so that's that's the attorney component that we're paying
Yes.
for.
Let's make the assumption that we're going to revise some ordinances and you're gonna have increased fees for overweight trucks, perhaps animals on the loose. Perhaps they'll be spending more time in court then, and we should increase that.
I agree with that.
Our expense that we're gonna have to pay him
Yes.
to prosecute those things or whatever he needs to do, so you wanna bump that to 8 or 10 grand or something like that?
I was thinking $9,000, nice round figure.
Okay, I can
How
get
much,
on board
10?
with that.
I was thinking 9.
We're certainly getting more tickets produced by our sheriff this year than years previous.
2 on 9,
I think yes.
okay.
51,310, attorney's
Legal fees.
fees.
Yep.
From my perspective, I think we should get this back down to where it was pre-De La Mora, since we have no particular litigation going on any longer. And
What about
there-
Brookfield?
what about it?
It was just
According to the email, it's not over.
it's not over until it's over.
I
We-
think
we
that's
don't-
slow going.
Well, okay, that's fine, but we're not gonna get involved in a constitutional question. That's up to the state of Wisconsin and Jim Hammond, we're not involved in that. We don't need to be spending 10 cents on that.
Well, we'll wait for some advice in that respect from our attorneys.
Well, they're not gonna.
I sure don't want to fold now.
Nobody's folding. The constitutionality of the law is not taken up by the town of Waukesha. The constitutionality of the law is taken up by the state of Wisconsin.
Well, I don't have that thought, so I'm still concerned we may get involved at some point in time, and it may cost us money, so that's. what
But
I'm-
if we do, then we make a budget amendment. I mean, I would propose $30,000 for this line item, which is pretty much what the historical precedent had been for that, at least to my level of understanding, until we got into the last couple of years.
You're basing that on $2,500
That's what it would be, yeah.
and if we pay our attorney to do work for us as requested, what happens every time we go over the $2,500 a month?
Well, you're in
Well-
fine shape, and you're in fine shape until you, from a budgetary amendment till you get over the 30 grand, and that's something I think we need to kind of monitor and minister along with it, so we're pretty much hitting that mark.
The other side of that, Mike, is Attorney Mora already agreed to a $2,500 per month salary. That was his, in his original offer to the town, said if you're engaged in that, he'll abide by that. So why aren't we paying him that way?
He indicated very clearly that he would do whatever we ask him to do. So if we ask him to do business up until and including $2,500 a month, maybe that's where the interpretation
No,
came.
that's not where it came from. What his letter said, and I have it if you'd like me to read it to you.
Once again, holding documents.
I'm not holding any documents. This was given to you long before I was on the board. Don't give me that garbage.
That's too low for me. There's too many things going on, we're gonna be asking him to do some more work.
Like what?
I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, wait a minute. You made a statement that we have too many things going on and we're gonna ask him to do more work. Like what?
It's not about, there's no point in setting a budget if you make up for your corrections by virtually.
Wait a minute. You made a statement. You said we've got too many things going on and we're gonna ask him
We may
to
have
do
things
more.
going
No,
on.
you said we have too many things going on and we're gonna be asking him to do more work. And I said, like what?
We may have things.
Let's just back up for a
And
minute.
monkeys may be flying too, but we don't have to address that because it's a maybe something. We're finding a solution to a problem that doesn't exist.
No argument here.
Let's just-
I am not for 30K.
Let's just back up for a minute and maybe take this order. And Jamie,
Jamie, can you get the engagement letter from De La Mora that says he would be happy to
Yeah.
engage us? I do have it someplace. Can you get the engagement letter from De La Mora that says he'd be happy to engage us on any current contract? His original engagement, I believe, was from January 19th of 2011.
I'll hold my thought until you come back. Want a refill? No?
Good.